All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome.
Right. Okay. Wait. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Hello once again, everyone. So, as you can see on the screen, for today's session, we will be focusing on IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. Now, I'm sorry. So, yeah, we will start by thinking what it takes to really do well on the IELTS and TOEFL exams, especially when it comes to speaking and writing. Now, beyond just knowing grammar, a strong command of vocabulary is absolutely, essential. And of course, when it comes to pronunciation too. Because to think about it, when you're trying to express your ideas, whether in a spoken interview or in an essay, the words you choose are your building blocks. So these allow you to explain your thoughts clearly, provide specific details, and even persuade the examiner that you have a strong grasp of the English language. Now, the examiners aren't just counting how many words you know, they are listening for how effectively you use those words. So, um, they try to assess you, okay? How well you can do, how well you can use those particular vocabulary that you have. So, building a strong vocabulary for these exams isn't just about memorizing lists. It is also about understanding the nuances of different words, knowing how to use them in context, and being able to express a wide range of ideas with precision and clarity. Now, it's about making sure that when you communicate, your message is not only understood, but also leaves a positive impression. So, in our upcoming sessions, we are going to be focusing on developing this crucial aspect of your English skills. So, we will explore different types of vocabulary relevant to the exams and practice using them in ways that will help you achieve your target score, as well as focusing on their pronunciation. Okay. All right. So let's immediately start with the first set of terms for a moment. Yeah. Okay. So these are the first set of terms. I think some of the words you might be familiar with, but let's still go over these terms so that it will really be words that you are really very familiar with. It's already a word or a term that is embedded in you. Okay, it's part of your vocabulary already. Okay, starting with the first term, which is fluency. This is speaking smoothly without pauses. So you speak smoothly. When we talk about fluency in the context of speaking, we mean in the ability to express your thoughts and um, your ideas in a language effortlessly and continuously. So it's not just about how fast you speak, but also about the natural flow of your speech. So a fluent speaker doesn't pause too much or struggle to find the right words. While, occasional hesitations are really normal, well, a high level of fluency means your speech is generally smooth and easy to follow. So you use this when describing someone's speaking ability, like you say her English fluency has improved a lot. Or you can also use this when you're trying to discuss a goal for language learning, like my aim is to achieve fluency in English, something like that. Or you can use this when you try to evaluate um someone's performance in speaking tests. I'm sorry, in speaking tests. So you can say the examiner noted his good fluency despite some minor grammatical errors, something like that. So of course, when you try to use this, your tone is generally neutral or positive. You highlight someone's fluency, which is usually a compliment. All right. Okay. Pronunciation wise, what you see here on the column for pronunciation is the IP transcription of the word or the term. So pronunciation wise, there's three distinct sounds here for fluency, or three syllables, starting with flu. Now the first part, flu, it sounds like flew, like the past tense of fly, FLEW, something like that. But you hold the oo sound here. You hold it a bit longer and you say it with more emphasis because this first syllable is also the stressed syllable in the word. Okay? So flu, it starts with the consonant clusters, FL, consonant sound, no, a consonant blend, FL, and then it is followed by a long oo sound. Okay? And then after that, there's the middle sound is un. So un, it starts with ishwa sound. So the schwa sound here is what you see as an upside down E. This is a short, quick, and relaxed, and not stressed vowel sound. So that's a schwa sound. So here, the un sound, which is the middle sound, it is a short, relaxed sound. Okay, and lastly C, it sounds like the letter C. So it is followed by a short E sound with a little less emphasis than flu. So fluency. Again, fluency. All right. Next, we have coherence. Again, coherence. Oh, so coherence or logical connection between ideas. Basically, it's ideas that make sense together. So it refers to how well your ideas connect and flow logically in your speaking and writing. A coherent piece of communication is easy to follow because the points are presented in a clear order and are linked together effectively. So this could be achieved through using connecting words like however, therefore, in addition, and the like. Okay, many more. So organizing your ideas logically can also be another way where you take, for example, you use the not you use but an example of chronological, not chronological but logical order in organizing your ideas is chronological order, the cause and effect, something like that. So basically, just stick to the main topic here. No matter how many the ideas, no matter how plenty your ideas are, you should be able to stick to the main topic all throughout all throughout what you're saying, okay, or what you're writing. All right. So of course, you try to use this when discussing the organization of ideas. As I've mentioned earlier, you can say the coherence of our essay made it very persuasive, something like that. You can compliment someone. Or when you're trying to give feedback on speaking, you can say, to not really offend the other person, you can say you can try to improve the coherence of your answer by linking your points more clearly, so you give an advice. And when analyzing writing structure, you can also do that because coherence can be found in both spoken and written communication. So when you try to use this in a written communication, when you try to analyze a writing structure, you can say the argument lacked coherence. You jump between different topics, so you might consider looking into that. Okay, of course, when you try to use this, your tone should be, or usually, it is analytical and evaluative. You focus on logical structure of communication. All right, pronunciation wise, you break it down into three distinct sounds. Coherence. Okay, coherence. Here being the I mean, he being the stressed syllable here. So the middle sound is our stressed syllable for the word. So we start with the first syllable ko. So it sounds like the beginning of go because as you can see, um, it has, that one. So the one I highlighted, that's what we call a diphthong sound. Again, what is a diphthong sound? It is when a vowel sound smoothly glides to another vowel sound. Basically, vowel sound plus vowel sound, we get a diphthong. Okay, two vowel sounds creating one vowel sound, or one sound, you get a diphthong. Okay, so that's a diphthong, vowel plus vowel. Remember that. Now here, um, the first syllable has a diphthong sound, so ko, and then it is followed by he, which also coherence, which also has a diphthong sound. So, it is, it has a short e sound and a schwa sound paired together. So coherence. No, he. So lastly, we have rinse, coherence. So this is, it's a short. There's a schwa sound here. So it is a short sound followed by n and s sound. Okay, so you say it like this: coherence. One more time, coherence. Okay. Third, articulation. Articulation. So this is clear pronunciation of words. Basically, you speak clearly. It is the clarity with which you pronounce the sounds of words. So good articulation, it means that each sound is distinct and easy for listeners to understand. So it involves the forming the sounds correctly with your mouth, tongue, and lips. So those are what we call articulators. Those three parts of the mouth. No, yeah, mouth, tongue, and lips. Those are articulators. Okay, so poor articulation, like mumbling or slurring words, can make it difficult for others to follow your speech, of course, because they cannot really understand what you're saying that well. And of course, that is clearly a hinder in communication. Okay, so you try to use this word or term when commenting on someone's clarity of speech, like you say, his articulation was excellent even when speaking quickly. Okay, you try to compliment someone if they deserve it or if they show it. Now, you can also say when giving advice on speaking, for example, if they did good but not really that well, so there's still some room for improvement. You can say focus in improving your articulation of the th sound, because again, th sound has two versions, the voiced and voiceless th sound. We've already talked about that, so let's not delve deeper into that. Or you can also use this term in discussions about speech and communication. Like you say, clear articulation is essential for effective public speaking, something like that. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm explaining you that articulation is clear pronunciation of words, and it is very important for you to be able to articulate your words clearly so that you can be understood clearly as well by your listeners or the recipient of your information. Okay, so pronunciation wise, we start with R. Okay, articulation. So there is 5 distinct sounds here. Now R, it sounds like the letter R. You just basically say the letter R sound, which is the first syllable, and then it's followed by tick, which sounds like tick, tick. You know, the time is ticking, something like that. But you say it much quickly. All right, and then you, third syllable, it sounds like the word you. you, but it is also quick. And then next is our stressed syllable, which is lay. Again, this one. So that's our stressed syllable. That's lay. It is the stressed part, so you say it a bit louder. And there is a diphthong sound here, a. The one I highlighted, that's the diphthong sound, a. Lay. Okay? And lastly, you end with, of course, as far as you can remember, there's a tion at the end of the word. When we see a tion in the spelling of the word, how do you say it? How do you pronounce that particular syllable? That is shun. Okay? Shun. Tion, shun. Tion, shun. It's like attention, mention, all those words with shun at the end. So with tion at the end, it sounds like shun. Okay, tion, shun. But if for you, just for you to be really be familiar with the IP transcription, this is how it looks like. In the IP transcription, when we say the sound sh, the sh sound. So that's how it looks like in the IP transcription. It looks like an F but without the line in the middle. Okay? All right. Next is intonation. This is the rise and fall of voice pitch. So this is the music of your voice when you speak. So intonation, it refers to the way your voice rises and falls when you speak. So it's like the melody of your speech and plays a big role in conveying meaning and emotion. Say for example, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence, it often indicates what? It often indicates a question. We also use intonation to emphasize certain words to show feelings like surprise, happiness, or even sadness. So we try to use that when we try to emphasize such emotions. Okay. So when do we use this? We use this when discussing how someone's voice changes during speech, like you say her rising intonation made it clear she was asking a question, something like that. Or you can use this when giving feedback on spoken English. Like you say, pay attention to your intonation to sound more natural, okay? And advice, a good criticism. Or you can use this when analyzing spoken language. You say the speaker used a flat intonation, which made her sound uninterested. So when we say flat intonation, this is monotonous. Basically, your voice is just like this. It's just like that. So it's very monotonous. It's very flat. Okay. Now, of course, when you try to to say this, the tone is just usually descriptive and analytical. You focus on how pitch changes meaning. So pronunciation pronunciation wise, intonation, there's four distinct sounds here, starting with in, which has a short e sound, and then followed by letter n sound, which is a nasal sound. So in, and then it's a next syllable is toe. It sounds like toe, toe. So there is a diphthong sound here, o. And the next is the stressed syllable nay, which also has a diphthong sound a. Like a. You are like saying the letter A, something like that, which is, again, the stressed part, nay. Okay, so you say it a bit louder. And then there is tion. What does tion sound? It sounds like shun. Okay, tion, shun. So this is intonation. Okay, intonation. All right. Next term is lexical resource. Now, this is the range of vocabulary used, basically the range of words you know and you use. So it is all about your vocabulary. It refers to the number of different words you know and how effectively you can use them when speaking or writing. A good lexical resource means you have a wide range of words to express your ideas precisely and avoid repetition or redundancy. It also includes knowing synonyms, related words, and idiomatic expressions. So with that, you try to use this when talking about someone's vocabulary. Like you say, she has a very impressive lexical resource in French. Or when you're trying to give a feedback on writing, you say, try to expand your lexical resource by using more varied vocabulary. Or in language assessment, you say the examiner will be looking at your lexical resource to see the range and appropriateness of your word choice. Of course, it is then paired with a tone that is generally analytical and evaluative, and it is often used in the context of language proficiency. Okay? So pronunciation wise, let's start with there's two words here. So let's start with lexical, which has three distinct sounds. So lexical, first syllable is leg. It sounds like neck, but with an L sound at the beginning. And it is a stressed syllable, leg. This is a stressed syllable for the first word, so leg. And then next is it is followed by C, which sounds like letter C. You're saying letter C. So there's a short E sound here. And then lastly is kul, lexical. So there's a schwa sound, which means it is a quick and stressed and relaxed vowel sound. Next is the second word, resource. So re, which is the first syllable, and the stressed syllable, you say it a bit louder since it's stressed. It has a long E sound. So re. And then source. Again, source. So there's a long U sound here. Now, a tip for you to be familiar with the short vowel and long vowel sound. A long vowel has a colon beside it. So that's an indicator. If there's a colon symbol beside it, then that's a long vowel sound. Just like that one, re. So that's a long E sound. So resource. Okay. So the term is lexical resource. And lastly, we have pronunciation. Again, pronunciation. This is the correct way of saying words, or how you say words. You um this is the way in which you make the sounds of words. This includes saying individual sounds correctly. You put stress on the right syllables and you use appropriate intonation, something like that. It's all part of pronunciation. I've already, it's very familiar to you because this is part of my discussion on all the words that we have discussed so far and we will be discussing later. So that's pronunciation, and I tried to focus on that because good pronunciation is crucial for clear communication, as it helps listeners understand you easily. While accents can vary, I admit, I take that, of course, that's a valid. Um, the accents can vary. Clear and correct or accurate pronunciation is important in formal settings like IELTS and TOEFL exams. Okay, you cannot really you try to as much as possible you try to adjust your how you speak some words because it might not be favorable to you when you try to take the IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary exam, IELTS and TOEFL exams. Okay, so you try to use this word when discussing how to say a word, like what is the correct pronunciation of this word, or you ask you say your pronunciation of the th sound needs some work, like you're giving a feedback. Okay, so your tone here, it should be informative, it should be instructive or evaluative, depending on the context, of course. Pronunciation, there's there's five distinct sounds here. Let's start with first syllable, pro, which sounds like the beginning of professional, professor, something like that, but it is short and unstressed. So there's a schwa sound there. So that's why. And then it's followed by the stressed syllable non, which sounds like the name or the word none in UN, like the none in the church. So it is the main stressed part. So you say it a bit louder, and it's followed by C, which sounds like letter C, which has a short E sound, and then A. So the A, there's also a um there's a basically this is a diphthong only sound. So A, it sounds like the letter A, which and it is a secondary stressed. So it is next to the non-stressed syllable. Okay, and then it ends with again tion. It ends with shun. So this is pronunciation. Pronunciation. Again, pronunciation. All right. So those are the words so far. To check if you're following with me, of course, it's time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. Basically, what I want you to do is just to read these sentences with me. As I am reading it, I want you to read it also in your own comfortable spaces there. Okay? Let's start with fluency. Her fluency in English impressed the interview panel. Her fluency in English impressed the interview panel. Coherence. Your essay lacks coherence. The ideas jump from one topic to another without clear links. Articulation. Public speakers need excellent articulation to ensure the audience understands them. Intonation. She used the right intonation to show that she was asking a question, not making a statement. And fifth is lexical resource. The examiner praised his wide lexical resource in the speaking test. And lastly, pronunciation. Incorrect pronunciation of common words can lower your speaking score. All right. So those are the first set of words. Let's continue with another set of words, starting with paraphrase. This is basically saying something different, something in different words, or you say it in another way. It is to express someone else's ideas or information in your own words. It's about understanding the original meaning and then rephrasing it using different vocabulary and sentence structures. So it is a key skill in academic writing and also speaking to show that you have understood something and can communicate it in your own styles. It's also important to avoid plagiarism by properly rephrasing sources. Okay, pronunciation wise, we have here paraphrase. So it starts with the stressed syllable par. So par, that's the stressed syllable. There's a short vowel sound here, and it ends with letter R sound. Okay, letter R sound. And the next is a schwa sound, which is a short vowel unstressed sound. And then it ends with phrase, which has a diphthong in the middle, A, and then a buzzing sound at the end, or letter Z sound. So this is paraphrase. Again, paraphrase. Okay. Next, persuasive. It is convincing in argumentation. You are able to convince someone. So when something is persuasive, it means it has the power to convince someone to believe or to do something even. So a persuasive argument, it uses logical reasoning, evidence, of course, and sometimes emotional appeals to influence the audience. Being persuasive, it is really important in many forms of communication, from writing essays to participating in discussions or giving presentations. It's important that you have this persuasive skill. Okay, so when you try to say this, it can really, like, the tone can really range from assertive and confident to subtle and encouraging. It always depend on the context and also the goal of the persuasion, because you can try to describe an argument or piece of writing by saying her persuasive essay convinced many readers, but you can also try to say he has a very persuasive way of speaking when talking about someone's speaking style. Okay, pronunciation wise, there's three distinct sounds. Start with per. So it has a short a vowel sound, and then sway, which is a stressed syllable here, so you say it a bit louder. It has a diphthong sound at the end, sway. And then lastly is sieve. Sieve. It has a short E vowel sound here. So this is persuasive. Again, persuasive. Third is cohesion. Cohesion. It's linking ideas together effectively. So ideas that stick together well. Basically, cohesion is how well the different parts of a text or speech are linked together at the sentence level. So, this is achieved through the use of grammatical and lexical devices such as pronouns, conjunctions like and, but, because, or linking words like furthermore, in contrast, and repetitions of keywords or phrases. So cohesion helps to create a smooth flow between sentences and paragraphs, making the overall message easier to understand. Pronunciation wise, cohesion, cohesion. You start with the first syllable which sounds like go because there's a diphthong o sound here, and then followed by the stressed syllable he. You say it with more emphasis, cohesion. So cohesion. Now, cohesion. So there's a long E vowel sound here. And then you have a jon. So there's like a soft J sound here, followed by un, like vision or cohesion. Okay? All right. So this is cohesion. Next is accuracy. Correctness in language use. So you are being correct in language. That's accuracy. So accuracy in language use, it refers to how correct someone's grammar, someone's vocabulary, pronunciation, and spelling are. So a high level of accuracy means you make few errors. While fluency is important for smooth communication, mistakes or misused words that could lead to misunderstanding should really be avoided as much as possible. And accuracy, it ensures that the message is conveyed correctly. Okay. All right. Pronunciation wise, we start with okay, which is a short sound like the letter a, but you say this which is the sound of it. And then q, which you're like trying, there's a long u vowel sound and you're trying to say the letter q, something like that. So you try to say the letter q but with a long u sound. And then ra, which has a short sound. And then before that is a letter r sound. And then it ends with c, which is a short e sound. No, it is a long e sound. Okay, accuracy. No, yeah, short e sound. Accuracy. Next is discourse. These are extended spoken or written text, basically longer pieces of speaking and writing. So discourse, it refers to an extended piece of spoken or written language that has a beginning, a middle, and an essay. No, a middle and the end. I'm sorry. So it conveys a coherent message, of course. All right. So pronunciation wise, we start with this, which is short e sound. This, and then course. You course, like it sounds like the word course, course, like the subject you're taking. So that's course, okay? Course. So there's a long U vowel sound here. And then letter R followed by letter R and letter S sounds, okay? So the stress syllable here is in the first syllable. So you say this with more emphasis. Discourse. Again, discourse. Next, enunciate. Enunciate, you pronounce words clearly. So to enunciate means to pronounce words clearly and distinctly. So it's about making sure each sound and syllable is produced with precision so that listeners can easily understand what you are saying, especially in formal situations or any of that kind where clarity is really essential. Okay, so that is enunciate. Pronunciation wise, you start with long e sound, so e non, then non, which is a stressed syllable which has a short vowel sound in the middle. So you say it with more emphasis, nuns. And then C, which has a long E vowel sound, and then 8, which sounds like the number 8. Okay, there's a diphthong sound here, so you say it as enunciate. Again, enunciate. All right. Of course, we are at the end of the second set of vocabulary, IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. So let's start. Let's continue with the practice drills. It's time to practice. Same pattern, same process. All right. Paraphrase. Try to paraphrase the question before answering to show understanding. Next, persuasive. A persuasive argument helped her win the debate. Cohesion. Use linking words to improve cohesion in your writing. Accuracy. Grammar accuracy is important for a high writing score. The scores in the IELTS speaking test, the examiner looks at how well you manage the scores. And lastly, enunciate. So you'll need to enunciate clearly so the listeners understand you. Okay. So those are the second set of words. Let's immediately continue with another set of words, starting with intelligibility. So this is ease of understanding speech, how easy it is to understand someone's speech. Basically, that's intelligibility. So it is influenced by various factors, including pronunciation, articulation, speaking rate, and even a speaker's accent. Well, a strong accent doesn't necessarily mean low intelligibility, of course. If pronunciation is very different from what listeners are accustomed to, it can make understanding difficult. That's just what I'm trying to say. So, the goal in spoken communication, especially in exams like IELTS and TOEFL, is to be highly intelligible. All right? Okay. Pronunciation wise, there's so many distinct sounds. There's so many stress syllable. There's intelligible. So, such plenty of distinct sounds. We start with in, which has a short e vowel sound, and tell. You're trying to say tell, like the word tell, Tell, and then e, which has a short e sound, and then ju, which a soft g sound followed by a, and then the stress syllable here is bill, like the word bill, bill. Receipt. Say this part with more emphasis, and then it's followed by a schwa sound. So a short e sound, intelligible. A short e sound, and then t, like the letter T followed by a long e sound. Okay, so this is intelligibility. Intelligibility. Next is idiomatic. It is natural sounding expressions. So you use natural common expressions. Since idiomatic language refers to expressions, phrases, or ways of speaking that are naturally and commonly used by native speakers of language. So these expressions often have a meaning that is different from the literal meanings of the individual words. So you use idiomatic language as it can make your speaking and writing sound more natural and fluent. However, it is important to use idioms correctly and, of course, in appropriate context so as not to offend anyone, not to harm anyone. Okay? All right. Pronunciation wise, idiomatic. So let's start with id, which has a short e vowel sound, and then idio. So yo, there's like saying you the letter u, and then idio ma. So ma, there's a short sound here. Okay? Short sound, and then it ends with take, which um which has a short e vowel sound. So this is idiomatic. Again, idiomatic. Next is clarity. This is clearness in speaking. So you speak clearly and you are easy to understand, of course. Clarity in speaking means expressing your ideas in a way that is easy for others to understand. That's clarity. So this involves not only pronouncing words clearly, which is articulation, but also organizing your thoughts logically, which is coherence. And of course, using language that is straightforward and avoids unnecessary complexity. So clear speech is direct, well organized, and avoids ambiguity. Okay? All right, so that's that's clarity. So three distinct sounds for this one. First syllable is a stressed syllable, kla, and then which has a consonant blend sound, consonant cluster sound. Next is ra, which has a short sound, kla. Next is t, which has a long e sound. Okay, clarity. All right, clarity. Fourth, contraction, shortened form of words basically. So like don't. So contractions are shortened form of words or phrases where letters are omitted and replaced by an apostrophe. Your common contractions in English include don't, which is a contraction of the not, isn't, is not, and they'll or they will. Okay, I am. So using contractions can make spoken English sound more natural and informal, of course. Informal writing, however, it's often preferred to use the full forms. All right? Remember that. Pronunciation wise, we have contraction. There's three distinct sounds here, starting with con, which is a short a sound, then truck, which still has short vowel sound and then shon, tion, that is shon. Okay? Shon. So this is contraction. One more time, contraction. Next is pitch, high or low sound of voice. That is pitch. It refers to the highness or to the lowness of your voice when you speak. So you change your pitch, of course, in different, depending on the context, because it's natural part of spoken language and helps to convey meaning and emotion. So that's pitch. Pronunciation wise, there's only one syllable here. So let's try to see the one here. So it has the short e vowel sound, pitch. So there's the short e vowel sound and then followed by letter T sound and ch sound. Okay, ch sound, which is ch sound. All right. Okay. Lastly, for this set of words is stress. Stress is emphasis on syllables. So you emphasize on certain syllables in a word. Okay. That's stress. Like the stress syllable I've mentioned earlier. All right. So stress in pronunciation, it is really important. You know, correct word stress is important for clear pronunciation and understanding. All right. Okay. All right. Pronunciation wise, which has also one distinct syllable, stress. It sounds exactly like the word stress, of course. And then it has a short vowel sound. All right? Okay. All right, that's the end for the third set of words. Let's have, of course, as like before, it's time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. Intelligibility, same pattern, same process. I just wanted to read the sentences with me. Intelligibility. Speaking slowly can improve your intelligibility. Idiomatic. Try to use idiomatic phrases like break the ice in your speaking tests. Clarity. Use short sentences for better clarity in your answers. Contraction. Native speakers often use contractions in usual conversation. Pitch. Changing your pitch helps you sound more natural and expressive. Stress. Putting the right stress on syllables helps with clear pronunciation. No. Yeah, clear pronunciation. All right. Okay. So those are the words for third set. Let's immediately move on or hop on to the fourth set of word. Okay. Let's start with monotone. Monotone. You speak in one tone. Okay. You speak without changing your voice's highness or lowness. So monotone refers to speaking in a way where your voice stays at roughly the same pitch without much variation. So when someone speaks in a monotone, their voice doesn't rise or fall to emphasize words or show emotion. Okay, this can make their speech sound boring or maybe offensive for others. All right, pronunciation wise, let's start with the first syllable mon, which is a stressed syllable. Mon, and then followed by a schwa sound stressed, quick, and unstressed vowel sound. And then tone, which has a diphthong sound in the middle. So this is monotone. Monotone, which has a cheering. I have a cheering in. You will be having a cheering in. The first syllable mon. Okay, monotone. Next is hesitation. Hesitation. So this is pausing when unsure. So it pauses to or brief stops in speech, often because speakers unsure of what word to use next. You need to think about their ideas, or you feel nervous. So occasional hesitations are natural, especially when speaking in a second language or when discussing complex topics. However, frequent or long hesitations can make speech sound less fluent. I'm sorry for that. So speech sound less fluent. All right. Pronunciation wise, hesitations start with hes, which has a buzzing sound, voiced z sound, and then followed by hesitation, which has a diphthong sound a, and then tion, shon. So this is hesitation. All right. Third is synonym, a word with a similar meaning or a word that means the same or almost the same. So you try to know the synonyms, which is very important to expand your vocabulary and making your writing and speaking more varied and interesting. So you use synonyms as it can help you avoid repetition and express subtle differences in meaning. Okay, that is synonym. Pronunciation wise, let's start with sin, which is the stressed syllable here. It has a short e vowel sound too. Sin, again, sin. Give this part the strongest emphasis. Sin. And then followed by a schwa sound, and then nim, which also has a short e vowel sound. Synonym. Next is antonym. Okay, antonym. This is a word with an opposite meaning, which is counterpart of synonym. It has the opposite meaning to another word in the same language. You understand antonyms can help you clarify meaning and express contrasts effectively in your speaking and writing. So just like synonyms, knowing antonyms expands your vocabulary and allows for more precise communication. Pronunciation wise, so an, which is the first syllable, it is the stressed syllable to like a second pronunciation, second distinct sound to, which has a short or a vowel short vowel, unstressed vowel sound. A schwa sound is an unstressed cat. Okay, relaxed cat, quick saying of the word. Okay, so that is antonym. Next is elaborate. Again, elaborate. So this is to explain with more details. You explain in more detail. That's elaborate. You elaborate means to provide more information, details, or examples to explain something more fully. When you elaborate on a point, you are expanding on it, makes it clearer and more understandable of your audience. So this is a crucial skill in speaking and writing too, especially when you need to provide evidence or support the ideas you have. Okay, pronunciation wise, we have elaborate. It starts with e, which has a short e sound, love, which is a short a sound in the middle, which is a schwa sound, still a short, quick, and stressed sound, and then where are they? Eight, which of course pays your bills, pays someone's bills. Eight, if you just ate, so there's a diphthong sound there. And then lastly, elaborate, not elaborate, but you know, abstract. It is difficult to understand concept that's abstract. It an abstract concept is something that is not physical or concrete. It's an idea of a feeling or a quality. So examples of abstract nouns include freedom, happiness, justice, and theory, something like that. So I try to recover as quickly as I can. So that's abstract. The pronunciation, it starts with the stressed syllable ab and then struck. Okay, struct. The short a vowel sound. Okay, abstract. All right, so those are the words for the fourth or fifth. I forgot, for another slide for IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. To check your understanding, let's have, of course, a time to practice. Let's have a practice drill. Same as the pattern, same process. I want you to just read the sentence with me. Starting with monotone. You try to avoid a monotone voice. It makes you sound bored or uninterested. All right? That's monotone. So, next, we have hesitation. Too much hesitation during speaking can lower your fluency score. Synonym, big and large are synonyms. Antonym, hot and cold are antonyms. Elaborate. In the speaking test, try to elaborate on your answers with examples. Abstract, which is the last one. Words like freedom or love are abstract concepts. Okay? All right. So let's move on to the last set of words here for IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary, starting with concrete. This is specific and clear, clear and based on facts. So when something is concrete, it is specific, it is definite, and based on real facts or examples that can be seen, that can be touched, or experienced. So in speaking and writing, using concrete details, evidence, and examples helps to make your ideas clearer, more convincing and easier for your audience to understand. So the opposite of concrete is abstract. All right? Abstract. So pronunciation wise, let's have con, which is a stress syllable, the first syllable, con, and then crit, which is a short E vowel sound. Concrete. Okay, concrete. Next is transition, moving from one idea to another. That's transition, moving a transition in a word. A transition is a word, phrase, or sentence that connects one idea to the next in your speaking or writing. So transitions help to create a smooth and logical flow between different points, making your communication more coherent. Okay? So you use transition words here like furthermore, however, in contrast, as a result, to begin with. So that is transition. Pronunciation wise, you think of it as three parts. Tran. It has a short A vowel sound, and then Z, short E vowel sound with a buzzing sound, letter Z sound, and then Shon, Tion, Shon. So this is transition. Again, transition. Next is concise. Concise. It is expressing something in a few words, so you say things briefly and clearly. When your communication is concise, it means you express your ideas clearly and effectively using a few words as possible. Being concise is valued in many forms of communication as it respects the audience's time and avoids unnecessary repetition of words. Yeah, of word or wordiness. So, being concise shouldn't sacrifice clarity or completeness. Okay? All right. Next is emphasis. Again, emphasis. This is special importance given to words, giving special importance to certain words. That's emphasis. Is the refer to it is usually referring to the stress or special attention you give to certain words or phrases when speaking or writing to make them stand out or to indicate their importance. Okay? That is emphasis. Pronunciation wise, we start with the stress syllable M, which is short E vowel sound, and then Fa, which has a schwa sound, and then sis short E vowel sound. Okay? So that's emphasis. Next and last word for the day is persuasion. So convincing someone with an argument. That is basically persuasion. Okay? It is the act of trying to convince someone to agree with your opinion or to take a particular action through recent arguments or evidence and sometimes emotional aspects. Okay? All right. Being persuasive is a key skill in many areas, of course, especially in working fields, including academic writing, also in spoken presentations where you need to convince your audience of the point of your view. All right. Okay. Persuasion. There's three distinct sounds here. It starts with per, which is a short vowel sound, and then sway, which is just a diphthong sound A. So we have sway, which is a stressed syllable, or stressed syllable here. So that's sway. And then persuasion. So persuasion. So there's it sounds like the words it is safe and sound. So persuasion. Again, persuasion. All right. To check your understanding, of course, same thing that happened. It's time to practice, everyone. So let's have a practice drill. Same pattern, same process. I just wanted to read the sentences with me. Okay. First is concrete. Use concrete examples in your answers to make your ideas clear. Concrete. Next is transition. Use transitions like however or in addition to organize your ideas. Next, concise. Be concise in your writing and avoid repeatedly sound the same. Emphasis. Put emphasis on key points, on giggles, of course. And lastly, persuasion. Again, persuasion. For a moment. Her strong argument was full of persuasion and changed everyone's mind. And lastly, do we have any? Yeah, I think this is the last word. So that is on IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. That brings us to the end of our detailed look at this important vocabulary for the IELTS and TOEFL exams. I hope that breaking down each word, it is really simple meaning. It yeah, basically it's very simple, but I hope that it has been helpful to you also. So remember, simply knowing these words isn't enough. The real key to success in the speaking and writing sections of these exams is understanding these concepts in action. It's about striving for fluency while maintaining coherence, ensuring your articulation is clear, you use intonation effectively, demonstrating a good lexical resource. Of course, it's simple meaning. We try to check also how others act. Okay? That's how you do it. All right? So it's also about making your communication concrete with good transitions, being concise when possible, and knowing how to use emphasis to highlight your key points, especially when you aim to be persuasive. All right? That's persuasion. No, that's on IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. I'm sorry. So you keep these terms in mind as you practice your speaking and writing. Of course, practice consistent. Listen to how native speakers use these elements and consciously try to incorporate them into your own communications. Something like that. The ones who defended you. All right. These are the skills that take the time and practice over to develop. So is still a strong lineup. Having a strong understanding of these fundamental aspects of communication and the vocabulary we've discussed will undoubtedly put you on the right path to achieving your desired score in IELTS and TOEFL exams. Mm. All right, that's good. It's still passing. It's good. So any questions, any lingering questions? Do you have any final questions about any of these terms or how they relate to your exam preparation? If not, I encourage you to review those notes and try to apply them. Okay, these concepts in your practice. Good luck with your ideas. Okay. Next is, do you have any final questions about any of these terms and how they can relate to your exam preparation? If not, I encourage you to review these outfits, of course, these pronunciations. All right. That is on IELTS and TOEFL vocabulary. I hope everything's clear already. All right. And that ends to our discussion, everyone. Thank you all for your participation all throughout my class. I appreciate that. I hope you have a great evening today. Okay? All right. That is on, how do you call that? Irritation. So it's irritation. All right. To check if you are really following with me. Yeah, I've already checked on it. So yeah, goodbye everyone, and I hope you've learned for today's session. Have a great night ahead. Bye bye.